Is everybody in?
We're good.
Okay, great. Welcome everybody to the Board of Metropolitan Police Commission regular meeting on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at 7:03 p.m. And the chair sees a quorum with all commissioners present. So would everyone please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. Commissioners, we have, I would like to make an amendment to the agenda. If we could please add under other business an item D, approval of settlement and authorizing of signature. I would make that motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Takes us to D. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of September 7th, 2021.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
All right, second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. And I would make a motion that we certify the executive session was only discussing items as publicly noticed for the executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion made, seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. We jumped right into that just to get ready for you.
We missed you.
We're ready. Would you please come up and join us? On behalf of Boone County Communications, we have Major Stevens.
My name is Brian Stevenson from the Sheriff's Office, and Commissioners, I must say that it's great to see you in person again. Although I liked staying at home, it's great being in person for these meetings. So thank you for having me back. I have just a little bit of information, and then obviously I will be here for the remainder of your meeting to answer any questions if you have on behalf of our Communications Center. Before I start talking about that, I want to thank your chief and your department for hosting some training today. Our crisis negotiators were there at the police station to look at a new product for our team. The current equipment that our multi-agency team is using is 23 years old. So when you have a throw phone that is 23 years old, technology has changed a little bit over the years. So it's way overdue, and so we're doing our due diligence to look at good equipment and get the right thing for our teams here in Boone County. So just another way that our agencies are working together here in Boone County that doesn't happen very many places. So thank you for that. The County Council approved 2 more communications officers to begin in January of 2022, so we are excited about that. We have been working on the same staffing level as we had since before all of the agencies were able to add the officers across the county. So our communications officers have been working really hard, some working a lot of overtime, and we're excited about that opportunity to bring on more communications officers. In addition, the Sheriff's Office has moved forward with, currently our communications officers are required to be 21 years of age and older, and we're going to move that to 18 and older. That will allow us to get into some of the high schools and get some of these good young people that are great at computers before they go off onto some other profession. We're starting to see that across the country. Agencies that are waiting until people are 21, they're having a problem hiring right now. And so we're hoping this will help us get into those younger people that once they leave high school, four-year college might not be for them, but, they've been doing computers their entire life, and this might be a good thing for them. So that's another policy that we have changed. So if you have anyone in that 18 to 21, or anyone that is interested in getting into communications, we have some openings already. We have we run continuous processes now, so we don't have a process that starts in March or June or whatever the case may be. So anyone that is interested in becoming a communications officer can go on our website at BooneCountyIndianaSheriff.com. There's a little sales pitch, and sign up for the application process. In the month of November, anyone want to take a guess of total 911 calls that we received? The month of November, total 911 calls. Just phone calls coming in via 911. Anyone want to have a guess? 30 days.
4,000.
4,000? How many would that be per day? That's a lot.
146.
That's a good guess-ish.
I'd say more than that.
2,500 911 calls. That's just 911. 5,300 administrative calls for approximately 7,800 total phone calls in the month of November.
Wow.
So, crazy numbers. Calls for service, I know you guys go over that at year end, but I asked our 911 director to just pull up the calls for service just for the Whitestown area for November, 1,064 total calls for service. So that means you guys have had a busy month. We looked at the numbers for the sheriff's office. They're very close to that as well. So we've all been very busy in the month of November. So, having given you all of that information, I just want to say again, thank you for allowing me to speak, and obviously I'll be here for the rest of the meeting, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Brian, before you step away, I know you lowered the age to 18 for your communications folks. Pay scale, length of training, how long is that?
The training is approximately 3 months. So once we get them into the door and they go through what we call on the road field training, right? It's just another type of training in there. It takes about 3 months for them to be released and on their own, where they can be certified in taking those 911 calls, be able to give the medical direction when someone calls 911 and things like that. So it's about 3 months.
Okay.
Pay scale, I don't know the exact number. I wish I would have brought that with me. I do know that of all the donut counties around Indianapolis, we are number one. All right, thanks again.
It's always good to have you all come and give us an update. We really appreciate it. Happy holidays to all of our friends in Brown. Chief.
Okay. Moving on to the November monthly report. You should all have a copy of that in front of you. Some general updates. We are in the middle of a hiring process. We had roughly 40 people show up for a physical agility. Interviewed about half of those, and now we have 9 people in the background investigation side of things. So investigations is quite busy with that right now. Officer Frank Wolf successfully passed ILEA Academy back in September. He has since graduated from FTO, and he is solo on night shift. We did our annual shift bids. We were able to get the entire department together, had dinner, did shift bids, had a lot of fun. We had a lot of changes that are going to take place for going into next year. A lot of night shift guys are going to day shift going to night shift. So that will be interesting. I think a good thing for the department to have some change. Officer Thomas had his baby boy on Thanksgiving Day. And for the monthly stats, as it was reported earlier by the Sheriff's Department, we had roughly 1,000 calls for service. That was up from the month of October, and we are starting to see that climb in month to month. Generally, December somewhat slows down a little bit, but I don't know that that'll happen this year. Reserve officers volunteered 64 hours of their time. Again, that continues to drop, but we are down on reserves. One's currently in FTO, one's on injured status. So we'll see if when that changes. 37 arrest reports and 70 case reports. Warnings and citations are roughly the same as normal. Around 150 citations is average for us right now. Any questions on stats? We are looking at putting some new stats on there going into next year, kind of getting our top 3 calls for service, that type of thing. So you'll see this report change in January. Investigations Division, 12 cases, crimes against property, 16 crimes against person is what they had assigned to them in the month of November. And it's important to note that they still have past cases from, sometimes they take 3 months, sometimes years, so it just depends. Cyber investigations continues to stay busy. They've been averaging around that 20 mark every month. That's been pretty continuous. So at least they're not getting busier. And training, we have been extremely busy. I would say we host a training at least once a week with outside agencies. We've had feds in here. We've had a lot of trainings with area departments and even just all over the state. So Sergeant King's done a great job of getting some different classes in here. A-Ride was a big one. I think we have 2 officers in that? We had 2. There was officers from Zionsville, but they were all over the state. So that was a really, really neat class for all of our guys to attend. All of our officers went through case law training, and Officer Edwards attended the TASER instructor training to become our second TASER instructor for the department. That's all I have for the monthly report. We have nothing under old business. New business. Item A, review and approve the Axon fleet invoice. This is just our yearly payment for the Axon body cameras. Kind of actually forgot this one was popping up, that it just came in 2 weeks ago. So you'll see this again next year. This is going to be a continued payment. We did, however, just back 3 months ago, switch out from the old models to the new model. And that's just part of the program that every 3 years they'll send us new ones. So this is something I would highly recommend that we go ahead and approve so we get paid and continue to use our body cameras.
Yep, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the Axon Enterprising invoice for $26,136, not to exceed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do you have any discussion regarding this? And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Can you let me know who seconded that?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
This is Jody. Can you let me know who seconded that?
Eric Nichols.
Okay, thank you.
Nope.
Welcome.
It's a voice from nowhere.
It's like God.
Threw me off a little bit. We don't.
It reaffirms what I've always thought.
We can get them.
Yes.
No, we're not.
Okay. He doesn't say anything else.
Okay, moving on to item B, review and approve the 2022 encumbrances. We were able to save some money this year by being frugal throughout. I spoke with the clerk's office and we moved some money around, and we're still going to have a large excess amount that we don't spend by the end of the year. But just going through here, software licenses are one of our biggest costs. So I wanted to beef up that budget line in case something else pops up. So I've got $35,000 listed there. The Flock Safety, that's the license plate readers that we purchased this year. Those are a $10,000 annual fee, and that's we only currently have 4 of them, so they're $2,500 a piece. If we ever wanted to find a need to put them somewhere else, which we already do, but that just beefs up that budget line as well. Uniforms and equipment, obviously we spend a lot of money there, so $5,000. I would like to hopefully next year put a privacy fence in behind the new PD. We have a lot of foot traffic from the apartments, people walking from the apartments across the street to Meyer, and a lot of our officers are really starting to complain about that. It becomes a officer safety issue. I was kind of waiting till the price of lumber came down a little bit as well. So We have received 3 quotes. The lowest one is just under $25,000, so that's why you're seeing that. We have identified a place for a possible outdoor shooting range. It's still not for sure that we can get it. I'm estimating that cost to be about $75,000 if we want to move forward with that next year. So I wanted to set aside the money just in case that can happen. And then our 2 Harleys, those were on a 3-year lease, at which time you could either opt in to just get new Harleys or the payoff for the current ones, which is what I would recommend. And that's just under $25,000. So that's why you're seeing that number for a grand total of $175,000. And like I said, it's just excess money from a couple of capital lines that we had moving into this year. So I would recommend that we set that aside to encumber into next year's budget.
So Chief, you're saying the Harleys, they'll be 100% ours?
Correct. And I don't see a need to upgrade to get brand new ones, no more than they're used. It doesn't make sense to give them up, which would be the other option. We do have a lot of money and time involved with not only personnel, but there's a lot of money in the lights and the computer that are on those things. So I think we'll have them for years to come if we just pay them off, and I think that's the wisest decision to make.
If no other conversation, I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 encumbrances as presented.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Thanks for being frugal. All in
Thank you.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0.
Item C, review and approve the prospective new employee. And when I say new employee, that's a replacement from an employee that we lost.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Item C, review and approve the prospective new employee to replace the employee who we recently lost.
Ah,
Yes.
Make a motion that you go forward with candidate A as identified.
I'll second that motion.
motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, council.
Congrats, new employee A.
Thank you. And item D, review and approve the discretionary merit pay as you guys discussed in the executive session that I stepped out on. Just to give me authority to see that through, I guess.
As we discussed and went through the 2021 goals that had been not only met but exceeded by the department this year, I want you to know that this commission is 100% behind you and the work that you've accomplished with the team you've put in place, and we are very grateful and we applaud you for the work that you've accomplished. And with that, we agree with the discretionary merit pay that you have proposed, and we'll be passing our recommendation on forward to council as well. But we would also recommend that you also receive the 5%. And you've had a fantastic year. You've been
Agreed.
everything that we all hoped for in a chief, and your department has excelled and is respected. And thank you so very much.
Thank you.
A second.
Second.
Okay. So now that we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And any other comments?
Just thank you. Thank you, staff.
Said it as well as it can be
everybody,
said.
the goals, and the outlines and everything is just fantastic.
Appreciate that.
I want to thank John. He helps me more than anybody. I'm serious. I don't even know who this guy is after a couple of years, man.
Number 7 under other business, item A, just an update on the Axon replacement. As I mentioned earlier, all of our body cameras were replaced back in September, I believe. So they should be good to go for another few years before those need replaced. I already gave an update on item B there, the new hire process update. Like I said, we're in background phase. Item C, discuss the January PCM meeting date. Yeah, it's D. She.
Oh, under other business.
Yep, it was other. I found out, I believe our January, Police Commission meeting date was the 18th. They always do the January meeting after the council meeting. Council meeting is the 13th, but there is a problem with the room on the 18th where planning really needed to be in here. And quite frankly, we could either move it to the last week or another date besides a Tuesday, or we could wait 2 weeks and just meet in February. I don't believe I'm going to have any invoices to bring you in January, but I wanted to leave that up to you. I realize I've canceled a few meetings here and there for lack of agenda, but I think it probably makes most sense just to skip the January meeting as of right now, unless something comes up, and then we can come up with a date.
Yeah, I have no objection to doing February. We're only 2 weeks difference.
Exactly. Okay. And then we added item D, and that was to authorize, well, Susan, do you want to, I don't even know how we want to say that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the settlement and authorize signature by Susan Austin as president of the Police Commission and Chief Ralston.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. So then our next regularly scheduled meeting will be with Tuesday, February 1st,
Yes, it will.
2022 at 7 p.m. And is there any further business?
Make
Then-
a motion to dismiss.
On behalf of the entire Police Commission, we wish everyone watching and all of our residents a very safe and happy holidays. And we hope we see none of you in front of us for bad reasons, that you have a great time. And thank you very much. And so we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, see you next year.
Sure.
Really, Susan.
Yes.
Hope not to see you in a bad situation.
I hope not to see you in